What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the second night of a back-to-back. The Grizzlies will take on the Lakers tonight. I am joined by Allie Clifton, the Spectrum studio host, covering the Lakers. And you look like you're actually in a studio.
I'm just getting ready, just getting prepared. But yeah, in the green room at the studios for the third game of the season. Here we are.
Yeah. And I feel like it's like this stark difference between these two teams tonight. So we're going into the third game for both. The Grizzlies are undefeated. I love saying that early on. They're 2-0.
Yeah, of course.
The Lakers are 0-2. And it's this battle between kind of the oldest team in the league versus a team that's tied for second youngest. And I feel like they play two different styles too. So I'm going to say this one stat that I found when I was just preparing: the points in the paint. The Grizzlies over their first two games, 120 points in the paint, whereas the Lakers are shooting like one of the most threes in this entire league, I think like fourth or something, and they've only got 60 points in the paint. So I feel like it's going to be this vast difference in the way these two teams play.
Yeah, it's interesting to say that because I think when you think of the Lakers, they've got three of the most dynamic players when it comes to playing downhill and obviously being productive inside the paint. And so I think for them, though the numbers are what they are, and it's pretty incredible because what the Grizzlies have done is proven that last season was not a fluke for them. They are a great team. They're young, as you mentioned, Kelcey, but the Lakers, I don't think when it's all said and done, that'll be a stat that goes against them, if you will. I think their ability to get on the same page, put in the system that they want when it's all said and done, is going to show a bit different. But right now, you're right. The way in which the Grizz are playing at the rim, attacking, is a bit different than what the Lakers have been able to do so far in games 1 and 2. But hopefully we can turn that around because we've got guys that know how to get that job done.
No, of course. And I think that's the other thing that a lot of people are like early freaking out about, like, oh, the Lakers, they're 0-2. They're also 0-2 with a team that's still building chemistry against two teams. They played the Warriors and the Suns, two really good teams in the West. I feel like everything's going to be okay. It's a very early freak out. So what are you expecting from the team tonight? Like who's going to have a big game, do you think, for the Lakers?
I think it continues to start and end with their three superstars in the 360. And obviously LeBron, AD, and Russ, they front that, but they're still a work in progress as well. And so I think one of the biggest keys of emphasis that they've put on here early in the season is patience. And I think we all, as athletes, both you and I understand this, but it's going to take time. And so I think to just get better each and every day, whether that be turning down on the turnovers or keeping the turnovers low, shoring things up on the defensive end of the floor. They're still giving up way too many points defensively. I think they're 27th in the league right now. It's still early. Taking care of the basketball, 17 turnovers a game is a little bit too high. But I just think when you make those strides and you do it for longer stretches, you'll start to see the Lakers as to who we all know them to be. And that's obviously led by the three of them. So I'd like to see Anthony Davis get back into kind of that attack style of player that we all know he is and can be. He showed that throughout the preseason. It's not a question mark by any means, but I think when it starts with AD, the rest of this team follows suit. And it's special and it's fun to watch because of his versatility, his ability to impact on both ends of the floor. So if he can set that tone, it puts the Lakers in a good position.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting tonight because obviously the last time the Grizzlies played the Lakers, they had Dillon Brooks and they always put Dillon Brooks on LeBron. And I think that LeBron gets a little frustrated. Dillon can frustrate his opponents. So Dillon is obviously out tonight still for the Lakers. So it will be kind of this cool test to see a lot of these younger guys taking on three superstars who are all scorers. And so I think that's going to be probably the biggest test for the Grizzlies is like that one-on-one play, stopping their specific man, and then also the rotations on defense, which we saw a little bit sloppy in last night's game. So I think it is going to be fun. It's going to be, this team and the Lakers that just wants to get a win to start rolling things when the Grizzlies are on a high right now after just beating the Clippers.
Yeah. And I think there is also a storyline within itself that they just played last night, the Grizz, if you will, and the Lakers had a day off. And from all of the sounds and things that we heard yesterday coming from practice, it was a very productive day for them. They said it was a day of good growth, if you will. So being able to get into the film room and watch the tape and when you're dealing with a veteran ball club who has just seen just about everything, sometimes being productive meant hard on your body. As you mentioned, they're one of the oldest teams, average age of 31, but nobody cares. No one's paying attention to it. They're not paying attention to it. But it's an approach that they're able to use to their advantage in some sense. And it sounds like it came out of practice yesterday, just getting, that film work in and figuring out ways in which they can get better.
All right. Well, the game tips off at 8:30 p.m. If you're watching, obviously from Memphis, that means it's 6:30 in LA.
Yeah.
Here we go. Grizzlies fans, you can watch it on Valley Sports Southeast. Allie, thank you so much for your time once again today.
As always.